Welcome to NFL World, where NFL starts and ends. I'm your host, Jacob. And this show would have been to start, we were going to recap your team's fate or what your favorite team's draft classes look like. That was what we were going to do. And then at first, that's the idea. So you can send those actually in right now of what your favorite team's draft classes look like and what you would think you grade them as. And I would want to see what you guys' opinions are on that. But before we get into that, we have some news. First of all, this happened. This came official yesterday, but the news came out on Monday. Was Ezekiel Elliott resigns with the Dallas Cowboys, 1-year deal, $3 million. It's really actually structured as a 1-year, $2 million deal on the salary cap, but he's able to get $3 million with incentives. On playtime, he needs 51% with playoffs. He needs 10 plus touchdowns with playoffs. He needs he can't miss any games. Otherwise, the Dallas can get like $22,000 based on salary cap credit, which I don't exactly know how that works. And there's another one that I'm blanking off of at the moment, but it basically, oh yeah, scrimmage yards. He needs 1,100 scrimmage yards to get all that to equal, plus playoffs, for all that to equal the maximum of $3 million. My concern more of the Cowboys is they can't be done at this point. You can't just say, okay, we signed Zeke, we're good. We don't need any guy to be our we don't need any guy to be our we don't need to get anyone else to help us. We're good. We're solid. That's not what I'm saying at all. The way you need to draft or the way you need to sign or trade for people, you can't just accept a 30-year-old running back who hasn't been as good in recent years. It doesn't work that way. So the Cowboys better not be done. And I'll go into some draft classes for an example when you guys get those answers in. Which, if you enjoy and love the content, like, share, subscribe. It helps the channel out, helps me out, tells me what you guys would want to see and what you don't care for seeing. So let's start with the Detroit Lions draft class. Actually, let's do that. Let's do the Detroit Lions 2024 draft class. Hang on a second. Wait on 1 second. Right. So the Detroit Lions 2024 draft class is what we're trying to look for. And let me just find the tracker part of this. Okay, here we go. So here's the Lions picks in the 2024 draft. Arnold, the cornerback out of Alabama. Hang on a second. This thing thinks it's okay. Here we go. Ennis Rackstraw, the cornerback out of Missouri, as the Lions did need help at corner. Their secondary was one of the worst in the league last year. Um, in the fourth round, they did not have a third round pick. It was Giovanni Manu, the offensive lineman out of British Columbia, which is like 50 hours if you drive that way, basically. Actually, no, that way, but then roll around. Round four was Sloan. Oh, sorry, hang on. Sion Viaki. I'm sorry, the safety, running back, do everything hybrid out of Utah, who he played safety, he played nickel, he played some linebacker in some cases. Um, and then everyone got hurt in the running back room, and they said, "Hey, can you go and do this?" He said, "Sure," and he was great at it. And that's basically what he was asked to do is like, "Hey, can you do this? Can you be a running back?" And he was actually drafted as a running back, not a safety. So, but a very fun player to have, probably also on your fantasy teams as well. Now, moving on to the sixth round, where the Lions go and get Makai Wingo, the defensive tackle out of LSU, at pick 189. Not too bad, all things considered, as the Lions traded up to select Wingo, needed some help in the interior of the defensive line. That's what he brings. Round six, they bring in Christian Mahogany, the offensive lineman out of Boston College, who I had going way before he actually did. So, and for the UDFA class, which I kind of count as a defensive class as well, if I can actually get it. Here we go. They have Cade Peterson, the quarterback out of Grand Valley State. He's going to it's a rookie minicamp tryout. Basically means we need some guys who can throw. That's what you do. We need some guys that can throw the football. You go and say, "Yeah, we're calling it a tryout." It's not really. It's just we need someone who can throw to these guys and throw interceptions. Theo Day, the quarterback out of North Iowa, same thing with him. Michael Herzog out of Hinsdale College also gets a tryout. He's a running back. Isaiah Williams, the kid out of Illinois, he's an actual UDFA, it's not a tryout. He's a wide receiver out of Illinois. Wide receiver Jalen Calhoun, the kid at Duke. Tight end Isaac Rex out of BYU. I'm gonna butcher these names here. But the three centers, Kingsley Iguan Iguanca, the kid out of Florida, Brian Hudson out of Louisville, Duke Clemens out of UCLA. edge rusher Isaac Ukwa out of out of Ole Miss, Nate Lynn, another edge rusher out of William and Mary. Defensive tackle TJ Smith, former Viking. That's just really what they're calling a mini camp workout. Josh Landry, a defensive tackle out of Missouri, another tryout. Steele Chambers, which is a fantastic name for a linebacker, by the way, out of Ohio State. Linebacker and safety hybrid Deron Gilbert out of Northern Illinois. Cornerback Maurice Norris out of Fresno State. Safety Lauren Strickland out of Ball State. Safety Chellan Games out of Wake Forest. Long snapper Hogan Haddon out of Idaho, and kicker James Turner out of Michigan. So a pretty lengthy class. Normally you get about 15 or so UDFAs. Make sure everything is 100% accurate as much as you can. And not everyone's going to make the roster. Not everyone's going to make the practice squad. These are just bodies in many ways. These are just guys that you bring in to help out the kicker, to help out the quarterback, or help out the wide receivers out, who are going to make the team, but you just need someone to throw to them. You need someone to snap to them. You need someone to just fill space. Sometimes that's what you do. Now, was the Lions draft class the best? No. I thought the Eagles had the best draft class. They dominated the draft. The Eagles always dominate the draft. The issue isn't about them dominating the draft. The issue is, can they dominate? Oh, okay, there we go. The issue isn't can they dominate the draft. The issue is, can that translate? And this kind of pulls us off into another direction here that I didn't foresee. Um, if let's go with the Eagles defense last year. They struggled at linebacker. They had linebackers the year before, and the defensive coordinator left, and the linebackers left. And instead of trying to do anything with it, they said, we got some young guys, and we can get some guys off the street, and we'll survive. Didn't work. Zach Cunningham was your best linebacker, and he was not the best at it. Nicholas Morrow was decent, but you were playing Shaq Leonard valuable snaps, and he was not the same Shaq Leonard as we've all seen in years prior. So there was issues with that. Best thing I can say is you can't, and Nakobe Dean also gets hurt. But you can't just go blame that all on the defense if the front office does not supply that with talent that can get the job done. Is part of that also having a new defensive coordinator? Yeah. You drafted players with one defensive coordinator. He leaves. You bring in another guy, even if he's just on the same team as you. It's still a different philosophy. It's a different way they're going to call plays. And situations are going to call different plays. So you call him at a different time. That can't happen every time. You can't make that decision on your own. It's just kind of how it works. Now, if you have the explanation of saying this is a very talented team, and we think that we have the chance to do something special here, we don't need those positions. That's how a weak a weakening team happens. You can't attempt to do that and think that's gonna work. That's gonna be it. There there said happy Wednesday to everyone. Yes, happy Wednesday to you there. And thank you for joining us. Put down your favorite team and your favorite team's draft class and how would you grade it, and we'll see if it complies with mine. But I do thank you. The Eagles didn't try and do that, and that's sometimes how that happens. That you get D coordinator leaves, you got another philosophy, another guy's bringing in his guys, and then he leaves, he gets fired, and you bring in another guy midway through the season who does his things his way, and it doesn't work, and he gets let go, and then you decide to bring a whole nother coaching staff in the following year. That's a whole different change. You got essentially 4 different coordinators in 3 years. That's a lot. In 2 or 3 in 2 years. That's insane. And that's expecting that's gonna work. Uh, that's expecting that's gonna work with how those players that you have with the defensive coordinator. It doesn't work that way. It's a different change. And that's the expectation everyone has to have, is that it is a change. It's not ideal, okay? It just isn't. Stop pretending that it is. It's not. It's a group effort. And if you want that effort, do it, but understand something. It doesn't work that way. Every team is different, and you have to expect that. Every team is different. Learn it, understand it. It's not hard. More of it's all about how your talent operates. Enjoy it is not the easiest thing to say. But the best way I can put it is when you see a team that drafts, don't expect that you know everything they're gonna do or when they'll do it. You don't ever know. What did the one thing the Eagles did this year? They draft, they go sign a running back, they go make some linebacker moves. That is what you do. They saw, hey, this didn't work. Let's go get somebody. Let's go get some people. Different people do it different ways. Like everyone has the salary cap. They know the salary cap. How you use it is completely up to you. So that's where we go with that. Now, as you guys continue to put bring in your as you guys bring in can you continue to put in your comments? The best way I can say it is the NFL today changed up their cast, I guess would be the best way to put it, as Boomer Esiason and Phil Simms have been I don't want to say the term excommunicated because they were not, but let go, moved on, whatever term is delicate as possible. And they go and get replaced by Matt Ryan and JJ Watt. Now, the Matt Ryan one makes sense because it's a quarterback, it has a quarterback's perspective, it's a quarterback driven league. If you look at every show has a quarterback's perspective. Every one. Someone played quarterback. Someone saw it. Fox on their 11 o'clock show have Michael Vick. On their 12 o'clock show have Terry Bradshaw. CBS on their 12 o'clock show had Boomer for years. They had Marino for years. They had Phil Simms for a couple years. Now they have Matt Ryan. NBC had Chris Sims, which I think is where Phil Simms is going actually, NBC. Possibly Boomer goes there or does something completely different. Who knows? Or actually, no, it had Chris Sims. ESPN had Matt Hasselbeck for a while. Now they have Alex Smith, but they have a quarter. The point I'm trying to make is they have a quarterback on this show to talk and say quarterback related things. They had Trent Dilfer at one point for a little while before he went into coaching. It's all based on how they operate. It's all by design. That's the best way I can put it. It's all by design. So so the best way I can put this is as I'm echoing here. The best way I can put this is every single time that they make a move like this, it's because they're moving an older quarterback for a younger quarterback. It's always the way they do it. JJ Watt's perspective is different than what CBS for the NFL today is used to. I'll give you a good example. For years, I don't know if you remember this. You might not. This was a long time ago. Remember when the crew for CBS's NFL Today was Dan Marino, Bill Cowher, Shannon Sharp, and Boomer Esiason? Remember that? Now it's not. But back then it was all personality based, have fun, let's also be serious at the same time, which is great, by the way. I hang on. Okay, no, we're good. But I thoroughly enjoyed that. The personalities, the passion, and all that. Then that changed. Shannon Sharp left. Dan Marino left. They brought in Nate Burleson. That kind of worked, kind of didn't work. Then they brought in Phil Simms. Then they did this. Then they did that. And then they got Matt Ryan and JJ Watt last year. and they were really happy with what JJ could do because he brings, again, different perspectives. They didn't when I to go around in a complete circle here, when they had Shannon Sharpe, that was a tight end's perspective, something they never had. They never had a tight end perspective on their show as a constant. Maybe once in a while they would bring someone on, but it was a constant, and it was exciting because they always had the quarterback, they always had the coach. Tight end, they didn't have that. That was exciting. Now they don't have that again. They had the quarterbacks. They had the 2 quarterbacks, they had the coach, they had the wide receiver. Everyone does that. The wide receiver is probably the newest thing that you have, but it's everyone else has the quarterbacks. They didn't want that. They want someone with young, some energy. So they bring in Matt Ryan, who gives them their quarterback fix when getting rid of Boomer and Phil. And they bring in JJ Watt to give them that new perspective of a defensive end that Fox has had for almost a decade plus, for almost 15 years. They've had the same perspective of, like, you look at what Fox has done in their time, they brought in everybody that they could that was new pretty much every side of the ball. They had their quarterback, they had their coach, but they brought in defensive linemen, defensive tackle and Howie Long, or defensive tackle, defensive end hybrid and Howie Long. Strahan is a defensive end, but also all those guys have a personality. It's exciting to watch. Phil Simms and Boomer Esiason, you kind of just go and you slouch in your chair because you don't understand what they're talking about. You don't get it. It makes 0 sense in the world if you pretend that you know exactly what they're talking about. You realize you don't know anything of what they're talking. Like, that's the reason, and you can go even to the to Fox's pregame show before the pregame show. Michael Vick, Charles Woodson, Julian Edelman. What's the design? What's the design? They're going and saying, we have a wide receiver who played quarterback. We had a cornerback that played wide receiver in college. We have a quarterback here. We can make that work. We absolutely can. And then we have Schrager who can come in and do his stuff, and we're good. The only thing they'll need is a coach, and they can probably get one in Bill Belichick if they want, or in anyone else if they want. That's all they have to do. They legit could do that. They can do it. But it's all about the smarts. It's all about smarts and how you piece these shows together. CBS wants a more analytical approach. JJ Watt might be their version of an infusion of excitement and not an infusion of smarts again. Now, before we go, as we haven't had as many as I thought, and continue to put them down in the comment section if you absolutely can do that. But let me make sure I have it here. Okay. Excuse me. There will be one more team that we'll do here. But I want to make sure I get this down 100%. So let me go here and go into this, which would be the last one, which I think it was a very up and down draft because it just let a lot of what are you doing in many circumstances, and it was the Jets, in my opinion. The Jets had a very strange draft. They draft two running backs, they draft an offensive lineman. Okay, the offensive lineman I get, the two running backs I don't. You have Breece Hall. Why are you getting two running backs? And then they kind of did some jumping around. Like I want to make sure I have all the picks here. So let's go and look at the Jets 2024 draft class. Tracker. I want. There we go. Here we go. This is what I wanted. So they take Fashanu or Fashanu. I don't know why I keep saying Fashanu. It's Fashanu. That one I kind of understand. They take Corley. Okay, they needed a wide receiver. So I understand that one. And then it kind of starts going a little strange in day three. They kind of start jumping around. They take Braylon Allen in the fourth round. Okay. They take Jordan Travis in the fifth round. Okay, you need a backup quarterback. I get it. And then they go and they take another running back, Isaiah Travis, in the fifth round, which was absurd that they would take another running back. Then they go, remain in the fifth round. They take Quantez Stiggers, the defensive back. Another player from college football. I mean, not college football, but Canadian Football League. I'm sorry. And then they take another defensive back in Jalen Key, the final pick, so it doesn't really matter. But the two running backs I thought were interesting. I just thought they wouldn't do that. There was something about that I just kind of stuck in my craw a little bit. That they would take two running backs, two power backs. That Breece Hall isn't a power back, but you still have, as I can look at their let's just look at the depth chart. There we go. Just to round out the finish of this show here. So let me check the running backs. Here we go. So they have Brees Hall, Israel Abanikanda, Braylon Allen, Isaiah Davis, Xavier Valade, or Vandalay, of no Valade. I just yeah, it would be wouldn't it be great? What a Seinfeld reference that would have been. Vandala. That would have been a great Seinfeld reference. Um, and Jacquez Patrick. So they have 5 running backs. Or actually, no, 6 running backs. And that's just, it's a lot. You drafted 2 running backs, and you had already 4. It's just a little bit of a shock, to say the least, that they would go running back 2 times. So I thought the Jets had a weird up and down draft. I thought the Eagles had a great draft. I thought the Falcons had the worst draft because of what they were doing in the Michael Penix. I just still don't get that one. But let me know in the comments what your grade would be for the Falcons, for the Jets, for the Eagles, and what your grades would be for your favorite team coming out of the NFL draft. For NFL World, I'm Jacob Hebert. Out.